Voting has begun in the second round of France's presidential election. The final two contenders in the race are centrist Emmanuel Macron and the far-right's Marine Le Pen. Macron won the first round of voting with 23.7% of the vote, while Le Pen finished second with 21.9%. Polling stations across France are due to close between 1700 and 1800 GMT. For a quick update on the voting process in France, we're joined by Richard Bestek live from Paris. Richard, how is the voting process getting along and what kind of expected turnout are we looking at?
Well, Panina, here in the heart of Paris, the stream of voters has been fairly constant since the polls opened at 8 o'clock this morning, local time. In the last few minutes, though, we've had an intermediate figure put out on turnout from the election authorities. Up until 10 this morning, the turnout was some 28.23%. Now, compare that to 5 years ago in 2012, it was 30.66%. And then go back even further, Panina, to 2007, 34.1%. So you can see that now it's a relatively low turnout across the 70,000 polling stations throughout France. But of course there's only so much you can read into raw figures like that. But the fear is that there will be a low turnout just because the candidates are so much the outsiders, so much not the establishment. But they also offer very diverse, starkly diverse pictures of the future for the French presidency and the future for France. And that there is a fear that those who find both unacceptable, a former Rothschilds banker and another one from the outer regions of the right wing, the French National Front, Le Pen, so unacceptable that they actually won't bother going to the polling stations at all. That's the fear. A low turnout, of course, would benefit the National Front, former National Front leader Le Pen, but the margins, Macron has still got a substantial 20% lead in the latest opinion polls that were allowed to be taken before opinion polls were stopped ahead of the voting day today. So the turnout, well, it's low, but it's not significantly low. And as I say, a constant stream here, at least, of voters going.
And Richard, when are the election results likely to be released?
Well, depending on where you are in France, because that's the way the French do it, it could be 7 or 8 o'clock local time tonight. When the doors are closed and the counting begins. But the significant point about the end voting is that's when we will get the exit polls. That is probably when effectively we'll know who it will be walking through the doors of the Élysée Palace and becoming the next president of France. There's still an outside chance that it could be Le Pen. The favourite is Macron, as I was saying there. But we'll know then precisely. And those in France are very accurate indeed, although polling figures have got a bad reputation of late. In the first round they were almost precisely accurate, and we are anticipating by about 8 o'clock local time tonight we will have a pretty good idea who the next president's going to be.
And Richard, you did explain that these two candidates are outsiders. So what are the implications of either a Macron or Le Pen win?
Well, they do have starkly different views of the future of France. Both of them will face the same problem, of course, and that is France's lackluster economy, high unemployment and low growth. They will both have to tackle that, but they will tackle it in very different ways. Le Pen, of course, famously tough on immigration. She's also tough on the European Union. She'll be marching off Brussels if she wins and demanding that France pull out of the single European currency, the euro, and there's the possibility of a Frexit vote, a referendum on whether France should, like Britain, pull out of the European Union entirely. Now, if that happened, the impact on the whole European project would be immense, and there would be a question mark over whether the European Union in its current form could actually survive France following Britain out the door. The entirely opposite view from that is contained in the work, the manifesto of Emmanuel Macron. He is a man who has deep affection, wants to see deeper integration, but even he recognises that should the result come out 60-40, there is a sizable constituency here in France that have deep reservations about the economic model that France follows in the wake of the European Union, but not going anywhere near the idea of leaving. Much better to integrate even further. It is a diametrically opposed policy, and that's why there is so much concern that many people might not find in either of these two candidates their perfect choice.
All right, Richard Bestick joining us live from Paris. Thank you very much for those insights, Richard.